welcome to my Tartan Stag design workshop. In this workshop I'm going to teach you a really simple way of creating tartan designs and also a flocked stag. I really hope you guys enjoy this workshop, so let's get started. Hi everyone and welcome to my stag and tartan design set workshop. So I've already prepared my tips, and as you can see I've used this beautiful red which is actually from my own collection, so Get Nailed by Lauren McBride, and this is Ho 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 from the Opulence collection, and it's an absolutely stunning red, and you can see here on this shiny nail that it has got that beautiful bit of shimmer to it. So on this nail I have done 2 coats of my Ho 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 in red, and then I've done a matte top coat, and again I've used Material Girl from my own range, okay. And then on this centre nail again I've done 2 coats of my Ho Ho Ho, and I've used I'd Rather Be Shiny, which is our shiny top coat. And then on this third nail I have done 2 coats of Ho Ho Ho, which is my red, and then I have gone in with Black Widow, which is my black from the core collection, again from Get Nailed by Lauren McBride. So I have done a French line with my black, and we are going to do a tartan design on the first and third, and then a stag design on that middle nail. So I'm just going to pop these to one side and get to work on this first nail. So what I want to do is to create a tartan effect like this, okay. So I'm going to pop a little bit of my Black Widow down, and normally I would use a palette, but because it's reflective I don't really want to add any more shine into the video, so you guys can see a little bit better. And I'm just popping down a little bit of my top coat as well. I'm just going to pop down another little bit of black, and this black I'm going to use as my solid black, okay. So again, this is just Black Widow, which is a normal gel polish. So what I want to do is make my Black Widow a little bit more translucent, so I'm going to add this into my top coat. So the first bit of black I've put down, I'm just going to mix with my silicone tool and make sure that that's nice and mixed and nice and even. So you can see that's a lot more translucent now than the original colour. So I'm going to go in with my striping brush. So this is my slightly thicker striping brush rather than my thinner striping brush, and I'm going to create those larger lines to begin my tartan design. So I'm just going to come straight down the nail with that translucent black. I'm just going to darken it up a little bit, so I've just added a little bit more black in there. So I'm just going to come straight down the nail, and this is going to be quite a thick line, okay. So I'm just thickening it up and then pulling that down vertically right the way to the free edge of that nail, okay. So I'm just going to pop that in for a quick flash cure into my lamp, and then I'm going to grab my nail that I've already prepared with that black French line, and I'm going to do exactly the same. So again, I'm just going to mix in a little bit more of that black, and then I'm going to pull this down, but I'm going to stop this time at my French line, okay, because I want to keep that nice and black and solid. So obviously if we were doing this on a client, this area here would be their cuticle line, so we want to make sure that we're not having any contact whatsoever with our client's skin and causing any overexposure. So I'm just popping that lamp in, I'm popping that nail in, sorry, to the lamp for a cure. And this is my first nail. So again, I'm going to come across here and create my horizontal line. And what's going to happen is where these 2 lines cross, we're going to create a darker area on that black. So we're going to get that crisscross effect where these two lines cross over. Okay, so you can see there we've got this darker section here where they have crossed over. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure that that's nice and even so that we get a nice even cure, and again that's going to go into the lamp for a cure. And because this is a normal gel polish and not a painting gel, it means that we can just do a 30-second cure and it's ready to go. So again, on this nail we are going to create that thicker black translucent line, and again when we come to that French line we want to stop. Okay, we don't want to carry it on. So I'm just making sure that my lines are nice and crisp, and you can see again that we've created that darker area where our two lines are crossed, and again that's going to go in for a cure. So now I'm just going to clean off my striping brush because I want a solid black line now. So I'm going to go through my Black Widow and I'm going to create some thinner black lines. So I'm going to come down here and start to create that tartan shape. So I'm just going to thicken it up ever so slightly, coming all the way down to that free edge. Okay, and I'm going to do exactly the same with a horizontal line, and I'm just going to do that up here, going nice and evenly across that nail, and obviously stopping when we get to our client's side wall. Again, I'm just thickening that up slightly. Okay, that's going to go in the lamp now for a cure, and I'm going to do exactly the same on my French nail. So again, going into this Black Widow and creating that thinner line just down here. And by no means do these have to be the same. You can, you know, change it up a little bit. So again, just thickening it up slightly and then stopping when we get to that French line. I'm just going to do my horizontal line now, again in my black. I'm going to come across here, working from that side wall, and then doing the same this way, making sure that you have no contact whatsoever with your client's skin. We do not want to overexpose them to any product whatsoever. Okay, so again, I'm going to clean off my brush, make sure it's nice and clean. We don't want any of that black residue in there. And now I'm going to go in with a gold. So I think the gold, black and red looks really lovely together, especially at the Christmas season. So this is Pot of Gold again from the Opulence collection from Get Nailed by Lauren McBride, and I'm just going to pop this down on my palette. Now this has got a lot of sparkle to it, but it's not a glitter polish. Okay, so it's got a really fine glitter in there, so you don't have to battle against chunks of glitter. It's got that really opulent shimmer to it. So again, going in with my striping brush, and I'm going to come down the edge of that first line that we did, and you can see how nice and evenly this goes on. So sometimes with a glitter polish you can be fighting against the glitter particles so that they sit in the right place, but with this they sit absolutely perfectly. And now I'm going to come across here and do my horizontal line. Now it's quite tempting when you're doing tartan to try and fill the whole nail with lots of different lines, but I think these negative spaces here really add to the effect. So I'm just going to come in here across the top of this original line, so that thicker line that we did, and put in another horizontal gold line. Again, just going across, and obviously if this was on a client, you'd be making sure that you're not having any contact with their skin. So I'm just going to pop that in now for a full cure. And like I say, because this is a normal gel polish, it means that we can get away with that 30-second cure. So I'm just going to add my gold lines in here on this French nail now. And again, I'm going to come down the edge of that thicker line, because the contrast between the gold and that more translucent black really makes it pick up. And then I'm going to come across here and do one slightly lower. And again, when we hit that French line, you need to make sure you stop, okay? And then I'm going to come across here on the bottom or top, depending on which way you're looking at it, of that thicker line as well. So creating that layering between our lines also adds to that tartan effect. So again, that's going to go in for a full cure. And now it's entirely up to you whether you leave this shiny or matte. I think it really adds to the tartan effect if we go matte with it, okay? So again, I'm going to use my Material Girl from the Get Nailed collection, and I'm going to go over this entire nail with my matte top coat, because I really think it makes it look like that matte tartan fabric. Okay, so obviously if we were doing this on a client, you'd be steering well clear of their cuticle sidewalls and also that free edge. We would be capping. So that's now gone in for a cure, and again I'm going to come in with my matte top coat on this French nail, and we are going to be doing a little bit of crystal placement. So again, making sure that you're steering well clear of the cuticle sidewalls and also capping that free edge. So that's now going to go in with the other one for a full cure. Now while they are curing, I'm just going to get rid of the polishes that I have on my palette, because all we need now is our Black Widow. So I'm going to go in, just let that evaporate. I'm going to go in with my Black Widow. Okay, and we're going to create on this shiny nail our stag's head. So I'm going to go in with my gel brush and create my stag head shape. So what I need to point out to you is your top coat, if it's a wipe off gel top coat, then you need to make sure that it is completely free of any tacky residue whatsoever, okay, to be able to create this, and you will see why in a second. So the stag's head is like a triangle but with your rounded edges, okay, so we've made it quite square and quite rounded. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some clear acrylic powder, and this is why your top coat you need to make sure that there's no residue on there whatsoever, because we're going to flock this stag's head, and if there was a residue on there, it would stick really quite badly to that top coat, which we don't obviously want to happen. So I've just got my clear acrylic powder here, okay, and I'm going to go in with a tip and I'm just going to run that over that gel polish. So what's going to happen is our gel polish is going to absorb that acrylic powder, and you can see it will start to swell. Okay, so you can see there it's starting to swell slightly, which is what we want. It means that the acrylic powder is being absorbed. If it starts to go shiny again, add a little bit more, wait, and again here we've got a little bit of shine going on, so I'm just going to add a little bit more of that acrylic powder. So the reason I use a clear acrylic powder is because it takes on the colour of the gel polish that is underneath. So that has now fully absorbed, and I'm going to pop that in the lamp for a full cure. Okay, now while that's in the lamp curing, I'm just going to grab my other two out so you can see. So this is beautiful and matte now, and we have created that beautiful tartan design on there. So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and then we are also going to do a little bit of crystal placement on this nail. So to do that, I'm going to use my Gem Buddy again from Get Nailed by Lauren McBride, and I'm just going to take off the lid, and you guys will be able to see the consistency of this when I start to work with it. And then I'm going to keep to the gold and red and dark colours for my crystals. So I'm going to go in with gold caviar beads, okay, and then I have got this crystal mix, which is from Crystal Parade, and this is Santa Baby. So this was designed for Christmas, and you can see we've got our reds, our blacks, and also those tiny little golds as well. So I'm just going to pop those into a sorting tray and give it a wiggle, and they will all line up ready to be placed on our nail. So this nail, I am going to pop a little bit of my Gem Buddy on. So I'm just going to show you the consistency of this. So this is perfect. It's a perfect 3-in-1 product, because we have got, you can use flat backs, you can use caviar beads, and it is also perfect for your pointy backs as well. So it's super workable, but it does hold its own weight, which is perfect for crystal placement. So I'm just going to pop that Gem Buddy all the way along using my adhesive brush, all the way along that French line, okay? And you really don't need a lot of this product. So I'm just going to get my katana to pick up my crystals, and I'm going to go for a large red right in the centre of that French line. And then I'm going to alternate them. So I'm going to go for a black, and then I'm going to go for one of these tiny little gold ones, okay, and then I'm going to go in with my red again, and then my black, and then to finish off right down in this corner, I'm going to go for a gold again. So I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. I'm not too worried about how even this is at the moment, because until we put our Gem Buddy in the lamp to cure, we've got a lot of playtime with our crystals to make sure that they're exactly where we want them. Okay, so that is all of my crystal placement, and you can see how this Gem Buddy is holding these crystals already. And I'm just going in with the end of my katana, or my crystal pickup tool if you haven't got a katana, and I'm just making sure that they are all in the right place before I go in to the lamp. Okay, so I'm just going to scooch these up and over slightly. There we go, and that's nice and even now. All right, so I'm just going to pop that in the lamp, Now with Gem Buddy, it is a full cure of 60 seconds, but I'm only going to pop it in for 30 because we are going to do some caviar bead placement. So with this stag's head, I'm now going to dust this off with a scrubby brush. Okay, and you can see now why it's really important to make sure that there's no tack on that shiny top coat, because we do not want any of that acrylic powder to be sticking in there. We want that really nice shiny surface. Okay, so now I'm going to pop his ears in, because I did just do it without ears and it didn't look right, so we need to make a sheep first before he turns into a stag. So I'm just going to do 2 little teardrops either side on his head, making sure that we're butting it right up against that shape that we've already done. And again, I'm going to go in with my clear acrylic and my tip, and again just flood that gel polish with our clear acrylic. And if it starts to go shiny, go in again, because it means it's been absorbed. So you can see there it's gone a little bit shiny. Okay, so I want to make sure that that gel polish has absorbed all of that powder and we get that really nice flocked finish to this stag's head. Okay, so once I'm happy, don't be tempted to dust it off, because we want to be able to go in for a cure. So I'm just going to pop that to one side. Now you can leave your crystal placement like this, it wouldn't be a problem at all, but I do love to use caviar beads to finish my crystal placement off. I think it really sets the crystals off and makes it look like a piece of jewellery. So I'm going to go in with my silver, no I'm not, my gold caviar beads this time. And again, I'm going to go into my Gem Buddy and just pick up a tiny little bit of that Gem Buddy and pop it into the corners that have been created by each crystal. Okay, so just popping it in there and then also on that end. And because I'm confident in my product and I know it's not going to move anywhere and it's going to stay exactly where I put it, I am going to do this entire French line with my caviar beadwork. Okay, so I'm now going to pick up my caviar beads one at a time and pop them into that Gem Buddy that I have just put into those corners. So you can see there I've put that caviar bead in there, and again just picking them up, making super sure I'm not touching the facets of my crystals with any of that Gem Buddy. And that is the same for any product that you're using. So you cannot encapsulate crystals and you cannot go over them with top or base coat, because it's the facets that give your crystals their shine. And if we smooth off those facets, you're going to dull the shine and your crystals won't sparkle anymore. So that's super important. Okay, so you can see here I'm just using the very tip of my brush just to ease those caviar beads into place and put them exactly where I want them. So working methodically so we don't miss any of those corners out. If you pick up too many caviar beads, just wipe them off down onto your palette, and then that will enable you to pick them up one by one. So you can see now by me doing that one side how different it looks from the other side that hasn't got any caviars on. It completely changes the look of your crystal placement and really finishes it off. But what I would say is don't be half-hearted about it. Either do full caviar bead placement or don't do it at all, because the crystals, especially if you're doing it as a full set of nails, the crystals that you don't put your caviar beads on will look unfinished if you have done caviar bead placement on other nails within that set. So So again, just popping one on that very end, just there, and that will help to give us that taper of this French line, okay? So I'm just doing the last few now, coming up into the top of that French line. And then before I go into the lamp, I'm just going to make sure that they're all sitting exactly where I want them, and then they're scooched right up into that corner. And if they're not, just give them a little tap to make sure that they're sitting where you want them. Okay, so again, that's going to now go in for a full cure. So like I've said with the Gem Buddy, it is a full cure of 60 seconds, and your crystals and gems and pointy backs and caviar beads will be in there and will last the entirety of your service. So I'm just going to come in now and again remove this acrylic powder. And by removing it each time, it means that we get a really nice clean painting section with our gel. We don't want to be painting on top of that acrylic, okay? So I'm just going to put my two main antler shapes in here, using my striping brush because it has got that really nice taper to it, so that we get that taper on our antlers. So now I'm just going to come in here and also here, and then I'm going to bring this one up. Okay, so I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. If you feel it easier to work this way round, just turn your client's hand round. They really won't mind, to be able to work more methodically. Okay, so again, I'm going to grab that clear acrylic powder and I'm going to flood that uncured gel polish with my powder, and when it starts to go shiny again, flood it again. Okay, making sure that it's fully saturated. And remember with your antlers as well, when you add your acrylic powder, your gel polish swells, so you don't want to be too intricate, even though you want your tapers to your antlers to be really nice and crisp. You don't want too much work being next to each other, because when it swells out, it will all merge together, which you don't want to happen. So I'm just going to pop this acrylic powder away, and I'm just going to get rid of this and just give my desk a little bit of a dust off, because that acrylic powder is sitting on there. Normally I'd work on top of the tissue, and then I will show you. We have done our two matte nails, so we have got our full tartan nail here, and then our French tartan with that beautiful crystal placement. I'm just going to hold that and wait for it to focus so you can see that beautiful crystal placement there. Absolutely stunning. I'll just take it off of my tin and then you can see it. There you go. Stunning crystal placement. I love this colourway. And then I'm going to grab my stag, and again with I use a mini nail brush to be able to do that, because sometimes a soft dusting brush is a little bit too soft. It doesn't quite get into all those nooks and crannies. So again, I'm going to dust this off. You can see that's really nice and set in there, which is why it's super important to use a quality top coat that hasn't got any of that residual tack. And there you have our flocked suede velvet stag's head on top of that beautiful shiny top coat. and the contrast between those two is absolutely stunning. And there we have it as a full set. So we have got our full tartan, our stag's head in the centre, and also our crystal placement French tartan. And if it is Christmas, you could always put a little red crystal or a little bit of glitter just on the end of that stag, and then he will become Rudolph. So there you have it. That completes my tartan and stag workshop. So that completes my tartan and stag design workshop. I really hope you guys have enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure you click the like button, and if you want to see any future workshops, please make sure you click that subscribe button and the notification bell. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you all very soon.